Hey, in this video I'm going to show you how to draw this super cute little cheetah cub using your oil pastels. Let's get started. What we're going to do is start with his nose. So go right to the center of your page, and the nose is a triangle shape, but you need to make the corners of your triangle nice and soft, so not sharp edges. From the bottom of your triangle we're going to draw his mouth. So that's just going to be a little line that goes straight down, about 1/2 centimeter, and then we're going to have 2 flattened out C shapes that come from each end. As you can see, I've made mine go out further than the nose. What we're going to do then is add the bottom of his mouth, and that is again a C shape, just going from each end first and meeting in the middle. So the lowest point of that C shape should be round about the middle. If you imagined making these C shapes into circles, we would come round, but as we get closer to the nose, I want you to start drawing a line going up. So imagine you're closing the circle, but then just before you get to the nose, draw a line going up. These lines should be about 2 fingers in width. So from the top of the nose to the top of the line should be about 2 fingers wide. And then from there we're going to draw the cheetah's eyes. So start from where the line is and just start with a circular shape. Baby animals usually have much bigger eyes and much bigger ears. So particularly if you're drawing a cartoon of a young animal, making its eyes exaggerated and its ears will make it look cuter and younger. Okay, make sure that these eyes are round about the same size. So just take some time to measure them up. From the top of the eye we're going to have just a little line flicking out, almost like an eyelash. Another thing that will make an animal look very cute and young is to have a bit of white in the eyes. So parallel to this bottom line, I'm just going to draw another line. And when we color it in, we're going to make sure that we leave this bottom line white. We also want to add a little bit of white to the top of the eye. So I'm just drawing a line going straight down, and then 2 curved lines shooting off it. So it's kind of like a comma shape. And we're going to add those into both of the eyes. And when we color it in, we'll also leave that white. Okay, so those are our 2 tricks for making something look young and cute. Right, the high point of his head should be in the center. So if you draw an imaginary line from his nose, that's going to be the highest point of the head. Okay, and we're going to draw it a little bit flatter on top. And then it's going to go down. And the widest part of the face is going to be around about in line with the eyes. And then we can start bringing it in again. Again, make sure that it's about the same on both sides. So you don't want the one side to be huge and the other side to be small. So just take a minute to make sure that they're both the same. Then in these 2 halves here, we're going to draw his ears. So again, quite big ears. First going to draw the inside part of the ear, then the outside part, so it's 2 C shapes. Try and make them round about the same height and width. So I've just taken a line across from the top of that ear to the other side so that I know I'm making them roughly the same size. Right, and then we can do his body from the outside of his muzzle here, just drawing a line that's going gradually out from each side. So at this stage you need to look at your picture and decide if you're happy with all the dimensions and proportions. I'm going to move my eyes down just a little bit. I feel like they're too close to the top of the head. So I'm just going to erase them really quick. If you have something you'd like to change, you can do that too. Right, once you're happy with your little cheetah, you can start coloring it in. I'm going to start with a goldy brown color that I have. If you have the pencil pastels, it's called yellow ochre. It's number 6. And what I'm going to do is just go around the edges of the cheetah's face. And I'm pressing quite lightly because I want to be able to blend this nicely later on. So to get those nice soft colors for the baby, we are going to just press lightly. I'm also going to add a little bit of shading in this line going from the eye down to the mouth and a little bit on the top of the nose. Okay, once you've done that little outline, you can just take your thumb or one of your fingers and pull the color in from where it's dark on the edges to the inside of your picture. Okay, I'm also going to do a little bit of an outline on the outside edge of the ear. So I'm just pressing fairly lightly, as well as his chest. So for the chest, I'm just drawing a light outline on each end, and then we are going to go underneath his chin and add a little bit of the darker shading there, because his head's going to make a shadow on his body. Okay, but again, just light shading, and then use your fingers to pull it in and blend it. Going to add a second layer of color to make the color look a bit richer. So I'm using a light orange color. If you only have an orange pastel, just press quite a bit lighter. So on the left-hand side of the head here, I'm going to add a little bit of my orange. And on the right-hand side near the eye. And then on the right-hand side of the chest, my pastel is broken, so I'm just using the side of it so I can get a really nice light color on it. And again, do some rubbing with your finger just to help those colors blend together. Right, our last layer of color is going to be a dark brown. So for this, we're going to exaggerate these lines coming down from the cheetah's eyes. So this is something that's iconic for a cheetah. So it's going to make it recognizable as a cheetah instead of a lion or a leopard. And from the outside of his eyes, we also are going to just draw a light line coming down. You can see I'm not pressing very hard with this brown pastel. And then the final set of markings, we're just going to do some spots on his chest. So I'm doing 2 rows of spots across his chest, and then I'll just continue a line of spots down the left-hand side and a line of spots down the right-hand side. Because this is a more cartoon-looking picture, we don't have to worry too much about making it look precise. I'm also just going to add a little bit of darker shading around the tops of the ears. Okay, and now we're going to use our thumb to blend these colors in. Right, so we're going to start adding some details with our pastel now. An element that you can draw that will make something look young and cute is lots of little lines of hair, because if you think of baby things, they're usually a little bit fuzzy and fluffy. So we really want to add a lot of little bits of fluff and fuzz coming off the cheetah, especially around the edges of his body. So I'm just starting with lines going off to the left at the top of his head here. I'm not pressing really hard, light lines, and I'm trying to make the lines different lengths, different distances apart, slightly different angles, right, around the tops of the ears, down the sides of the body. And along the bottom of the chin. They're going to be slightly smaller lines as you get to his muzzle. And you could add a few flicks of hair on those dark lines on the outside of the eye. He's starting to look cute and fluffy already. Now our last color is black. When you're using pastels, I always prefer to end with black, because if you start with black, you can smudge it really easily. So I like to rather just finish off with my black. So I'm going to start with the inside of the ear. And I'll start with dark shading and then get lighter. And you need to finish coloring about just past halfway through the ear. Okay, so I started with dark and made it light, and I finished it before halfway down the ear. Now, if I use my finger to pull the pastel down, it's a bit darker there and it gets nice and light towards the outside edge of the ear. So again, that little inside circle. Going to start with some dark shading, get lighter, but the bottom half should be white. Again, these little lines that come down here, we're just going to add a little bit of light black to them. If you wanted to, you could also add a little bit of black to each of the spots. You can see I'm not colouring over the whole thing with the black, I'm just drawing on the one side of it. Right, we can smudge these. Right, and then on the left-hand side of his muzzle, we're just going to do a little bit of dark shading. So I've just done 2 very light C's, and I'm pulling it in. It's just going to give it a little bit of dimension. And now we're going to press hard with our black to add our final details. So first we're going to outline his nose, pressing really nice and hard. In the same way that we want to leave some white in his eyes, a little bit of white on the nose will also look quite cute. Go over the outlines of the mouth. Can add a few dots in to show the whiskers. Right, now I'm going to colour in the eyes. I'm starting with this line that goes off the edge. Nice hard, sharp lines here. Then we're going on the inside line of the eye, We'll colour it in. Don't forget to leave your little triangle of white. Okay, and then we'll just draw a line on the bottom of the eye here. Remember, this little line of white is something else that also makes them look quite cute. Right, and then I'm going to use my black to just draw a few little flecks of fur and hair. There should be more brown flecks than black, so you don't want to overwhelm it with the black, but it just gives a little bit of definition. And there you have your super cute cheetah cub. If you enjoyed this video, you're going to love the course that we've just put up on Skillshare on baby wild animals. It's a whole series very similar to this. We've got elephants, baboons, all sorts. So if you're interested in trying out our Skillshare course, you can click on the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and consider subscribing to our channel. We put up new ideas every week.